Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the show of Marble Hill 225, Neighborhood and You. And this is a show where it's about you, it's about your neighborhood, it's about the community. It's about unity in the community, and it's about the good things that people are doing in your neighborhood, in your community. Mostly here in the Bronx, but we can extend it to the other boroughs. But we know that the Bronx is the best borough, the Bronx. Be Bronx strong, but this is where it's about you in the neighborhood and the people in the neighborhood. And we have Marble Hill 225 Neighborhood and You because it first started out in the Kingsbridge, Marble Hill, Riverdale area, but we've begun to broaden it and expand it throughout the whole Bronx. And so many times we see on the news or we hear of the negative things and we see bad things happening to people and to incidents in the community, but we don't hear enough of the good. And we don't hear enough of the good things that good people have done growing up and what they're still doing in this community, okay? So thank you for tuning in. Well, today I have a great special guest with me and a friend that I'm in association with on the Bronx Basketball Hall of Fame. Today I have with me Brian Downey. Welcome, Brian.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, it's a pleasure having you here. And if you have watched the past few shows, we had two other members of the Bronx Basketball Hall of Fame. On this show, it was Derek Dowwood, and then another show we featured Rudy Coombs. So today I'm featuring Brian Downey because these men have extraordinary lives that they live, and I just feel we need to hear it and they need to share it with you. So starting with you, Brian, okay, tell us a little bit about your basketball life, and did you grow up here in the Bronx, in New York? Give me a little bio on you.
Yeah, grew up in the Bronx, St. Margaret's Parish in North Riverdale. Started playing ball probably third grade. They didn't have a Bantams team back then, but I played with the JV team. I was the manager, and then you work your way up, all the way through the CYO. And then high school, I went to Fordham Prep in the Bronx.
Okay.
Continued my basketball career there. And then moved on, started coaching pretty much right after I graduated from Fordham Prep.
Now, you attended Fordham Prep High School, and we weren't in sister schools at that time, but I attended Aquinas High School. We were still in the Catholic, archdiocese in that area in the Bronx. And I know of Fordham Prep, they were a good team back then. I used to watch some of the games.
Sure.
So you actually played on Fordham Prep's team?
Yes, we had some good runs. We made it to a couple city championship games.
Okay.
No winners, but we had a good program, and it's just a lot of fun in high school.
So back then in high school, because Aquinas, we had ours. I know Fordham Prep, you had yours too. Who was your biggest rivals back then? The teams to beat?
Believe it or not, my sophomore year, which was we started playing Mount St. Michael. We lost to Mount St. Michael. Wow. on my first two levels, freshman year and junior year. And the big name then was Jared Lockhart. So
Right. And that was Tom Lockhart's son. And Tom Lockhart helped begin with the Bronx Basketball Hall of Fame.
Correct.
Tommy and I go back, way back since childhood, his father, my father. And also Tom Lockhart was the founder and creator of Marble Hill 225. So he's done a lot of work in the community, living out overseas and still coming out doing things, not just in the Bronx, New York. Tom is all over the place, okay?
Yeah, just a small world, bringing it back to Jared. Like that was our rival growing up in high school,
And Jared plays some pretty good ball too.
Unbelievable ball, yeah.
He became a coach also as well.
Yes, he is. Yes,
so now, after Fordham Prep, we know that's on the area because it's almost like a campus. Fordham University is there also.
Correct.
You attended Fordham U?
So I went to Fordham U. I was commuting at the time, so playing ball at the next level wasn't going to work. So I was lucky enough to have my high school basketball coach, Kevin Piggott, ask me back to come down as his assistant. And that was in November of 1995. I've been coaching in the CHSAA ever since. Okay.
So you went to Fordham U, and I'm going back to that because I went to Manhattan College.
Okay.
So I was at Jasper.
Yes.
Fordham U were the Rams.
Right.
We were arch rivals.
Yes. Big.
Exactly.
Battle of the Bronx.
Yes, it was.
Play, yeah.
Okay, but there were good schools and good teams. Thankful to come from such a good quality of schools. And what are some of your fond memories about playing basketball?
I think growing up in the Bronx, back then anyway, it was, you finished up your schoolwork as soon as school was over, and you went to the schoolyard, and that was it, till the
Right.
lights came on, right? And then you went home.
Yeah.
And that was, that's I think how things have changed a little bit. You don't have that as much anymore. But I remember that vividly, going to the schoolyard and playing ball, every night that we could.
Okay. Now, did you have any specific role models in the Bronx or in New York, or any, let's say, any fundamentals or disciplines within the basketball realm that helped you, reach the next plateau in your life?
Yeah, no, I mean, all different types of clinics and stuff. I remember a local, family member, Pete Farrell, started a clinic. It was Saturday mornings. We would go in and start practicing, and just little things like that. Talk about fundamentals, and then
Right.
I guess I have an older brother. I'd be remiss if I didn't say he was a little bit of my role model growing up as well.
Good. Yeah. And one thing I liked about basketball, and that's why I say disciplined, because it helped me to discipline my life. Because in our school, in most schools, playing basketball or any sports team, you had to keep your grades up. You had to have good attendance, okay? When you come to practice, you knew what to do for practice, what to wear to practice. Even though it wasn't a game, but we still had to dress a certain way for practice. You had to keep your uniform clean. So, and also time management. So sports really helps children discipline themselves as they're growing in school.
Oh, 100%.
And
100%.
I say that not just with sports, but any school activity that you can get your children involved with, get them involved with something.
Totally. So, part of, coaching, if it was just X's and O's, it'd be easy. But
Right.
I think it's more of a lifestyle, right? So, like you said, you bring in, your discipline as well as, the coaching, but you have to
Right.
put it all together. They say idle hands do devil's work, right? So we gotta keep these young guys busy, and
Right.
and if you could manage your time and basketball and your schoolwork
Right.
and get your stuff done at home as well, I think it all kind of, it makes the person into
Right.
who you have to be.
And it teaches them that at a younger age.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
because that's followed me throughout my life. Even now working, my time management. Well, you told me 8:30, not 8:45. Why are you late? You know,
Correct.
and even just to keep yourself disciplined. But also with the Bronx Basketball Hall of Fame, you joined the organization, and it's a nonprofit organization, and Brian Downey is one of the board members there. And you bring what talents to the Bronx Basketball Hall of Fame, like events and things. What have you
Right. So,
contributed?
being in the business, I do have a business as well.
Right.
It's important to be able to reach out and get everybody involved. I'm a little bit part of the selection committee, and with my roots in the CHSAA, you match up with other guys that are involved in the PSAL. You just get to put everything together, and I think with everybody's different backgrounds, it just
Right.
becomes a great knowledge of information, all different angles.
Right, and Brian mentioned selection committee, because with the Bronx Basketball Hall of Fame, and just to show you this, and they'll get a bigger angle, a bigger shot of this. This was our first year, and this is the program for that year. And it's an awards night, and it's an awards ceremony of inductees. And you heard Brian say, he's part of the selection committee who selects these inductees to come into the Hall of Fame. So you're part of that group who looks for the players and says yes or no, wait till next year?
A little bit, I don't have the power like that, but
Right.
to get the names together, it takes a committee. And like I said, to get different aspects of different, parts of the Bronx, I think you have
Right.
to all mend it together, and that's how you're going to be able to get the best people in.
Right. And just to expound on that a little further, I've been given the opportunity to read over some of the names last year of who was being inducted. And there are names there that I didn't even know. And I thought I knew a lot about basketball players, but the extent of my knowledge didn't go past too much the Wilt Chamberlains, the Walt Fraziers, that era, maybe a little bit before them. My age didn't know that
Sure.
many before, and even not your age, but there's so much extensive knowledge of players and the game since the 1920s or something. So you were bringing up names. I had to Google them and research them to see what they were about.
Absolutely.
Is that what y'all do?
Yeah, so, like I said, with the different age groups and the different neighborhoods even, right?
Right.
So if I'm covered a little bit of the northern Bronx, I can get the, the Woodlawn section and the
Right.
Riverdale section.
Okay.
And now you start getting the different Catholic schools as opposed to the public schools and the Soundview section. And so with everyone on board, and,
Right.
and it does take a committee to make.
Yes.
With all this information, you kind of just put it all together, and now you
Right.
start going through, and the process starts.
Right.
And we we're so far behind. We're only really on our third year here, right?
Yes.
Coming up in November. So we're still catching up. So there's plenty unbelievable people that deserve this acknowledgement.
Right.
We're going to get there. We're going to get them all in.
Yeah, y'all are
We
doing
just
a
can't
great
do it
job.
at the same time. Yes, yes.
You're doing a great job, and they're doing all of this volunteer work. Finding time in between your time.
Yes.
And just recently, 2 weeks ago, there was an event in Mullally Park. And what it is, the Bronx Basketball Hall of Fame, they have like a little reunion, as little neighborhoods do. They have it in Mullally Park. That's right outside of Yankee Stadium.
Correct.
Off 161st, 60th Street. And they do basketball tournaments. This is your third year doing it. And, they have hot dogs for the kids, tables set up with other companies, representing things. But you had your team there because there were 3 games being played. And it was sort of like a little mini tournament, but there was one game and then another game, different age group, and then the old timers game. But I walked in on the first game because I was at my event, Marble Hill 225. It
Yes.
was the same day.
Yep.
But your team was there. That was your team from Fordham Prep?
Correct.
How did you get them there? Well,
So Julius Allen, he thought we'd be able to get some teams together, do a Catholic versus a public, and try to get a little,
okay.
yeah. So he asked if our guys would be around. We had enough to be around, 6, 7 guys, and they were, loving to jump on that.
Right,
playing
right,
in the park outside in the
Yes.
summer is what it's all about.
young guys like that.
So yeah, my assistant coach was able to bring them up and have a great game against Clinton High School.
That was Clinton High
That was
School because
Clinton.
I witnessed the game.
Okay.
And I came in and it was a fabulous game. And I said, who's playing? Whose teams are these? And they mentioned this team, and I wasn't right there at the court. But they said, and Brian's team was out there.
Yes.
And I sat down right alongside where the scoreboard keeper, because Julie was there, another lady was keeping time, 2 other chairs, and I was the 3rd chair. And I was watching after 2 minutes, and I said to Derek, I said, that's Brian's team. He said, how'd you know? I said, I can tell by the way they're playing. And I know Brian, and I know what you came from,
Okay.
and being a coach in the school you played for,
Yep.
I saw the fundamentals in your young guys.
Wow.
You coach very well.
Well, that's a huge compliment to any coach, but thank you very
Yes.
much for that. Yeah, I mean, to have, to be able to see style and actual,
Right.
fundamentals and somewhat of movement the right way and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's a great compliment. Thank you.
If I may say, and just to tell y'all, because I'm doing like this, like I'm holding a basketball myself, but they get the rebound or they take it out of bounds, they come down the court, and they're so poised in their court awareness. And the point guard, he has a court vision. I can see and tell that because he's looking to see where his players are. And because even coming up in basketball myself at the girls' school, you take your shot last. So, you look to see if you shoot, if you can pass, you dribble last. He's looking to see where people are and the fundamentals. And then I can tell that they had certain set plays also.
We do.
Because I can see when they were running the same play.
Yep.
Whereas some of the other teams, they were coming down or getting the ball and just doing their thing. And not to say they were bad players, but I saw the fundamentals in basketball that his team displayed. And that's another part of discipline.
Yes.
Your awareness of things, not just on a basketball court. You could be walking into a job, you could be walking into a store, you could be walking in anywhere, and it helps that, those motor skills
100%.
to rely on the proper skills
100%,
and
yeah.
training. So, sports helps you out in a lot of different areas. Well, you have a great team there. So,
Thank
any
you.
accomplishments on the team within the last year?
Yeah, Will. Unfortunately, we went undefeated during the season. We lost in the city championship last year.
But undefeated throughout the whole season.
Undefeated through the
That's a
season.
great, that's
It
tremendous.
is,
Yes,
but
yes.
I would have given that back just for that last win. But
Okay.
we had a good run. We won 2 city championships since 2020.
Right.
So the Fordham Prep program is definitely going in the right direction. We got a great freshman class coming
Okay.
in. Yeah, we're going to be young, but we're going to be good.
That's great. So we're going to show some trophy pictures and highlights on that, and you'll see all of that on the credits. And if you need to get in touch with Brian, you want to get on a team, what do I need to do?
Yeah.
Give him a call or email him. Well, to move on in a different direction now, your occupation now. And I saved that not for last, but, his occupation here in the Bronx. And I give the utmost respect and admiration and appreciation for what Brian is and does, because he's with the New York's bravest.
That's right.
The fire department, the New York's bravest. You're a fireman.
I am.
You're with the fire department.
Yes,
Tell
I am.
us how that started.
So,
Yes.
like I said, I started coaching right after high school, but then after college, I did a little teaching. So I taught till about 2003, and then I got on the fire department in 2003. From there, I went while coaching at All Hallows. I stayed in the fire department. My firehouse was right near Yankee Stadium on Ogden Avenue, 106.
Oh,
yep, right
yeah,
there, 167 in Ogden. Right up the hill there, they say, house on the hill.
Yes.
And, getting the job at Fordham Prep, a few things moved, but right now I'm down on Reynolds Island, the training facility. But almost 21 years on the job now, and no signs of quitting.
Okay, all right. So you're on Randall's Island. That's
That's the training facility right underneath the Triborough Bridge there.
that's a training facility?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. And can you explain this to me, and maybe to others too? I always see on the truck, engine, but then ladder.
Okay.
What's the difference, and what does that mean?
So real basic, I guess. The engine has the water, and they put out the fire.
Okay.
And the truck will go in, search for the fire, search for people, search for life.
So the numbers don't have to coincide. They can be...
The numbers, there's an engine, typically there's an engine and a ladder in each firehouse per se.
Okay.
And then they would respond accordingly. But not every house has the same, but it's usually one engine, one truck in every firehouse.
Okay, because growing up, I rode a fire truck. I just remembered that now, when I was young. Grew up here in the Marble Hill houses, and if you can see in the background, I don't have a long ruler like they had in Catholic school, right?
Yes.
These houses over here, I grew up in those houses, and there was a fire. I must have been about 8, 9 years old, 7, 8 years old, and me and some other kids were playing behind one of the buildings, and we smelt a fire. We went down the back way of the building, and we saw the smoke. And we was like, oh, there's a fire. And there were 3 of us. I can almost picture the others. And we were running, and we didn't know what to do. So my street, that building was on exterior. So we ran to Broadway, and we pulled the fire hook as kids.
No?
We pulled the fire hook, and then because the fire engine or the house is on 230th and Broadway, right on Bailey.
Bailey Avenue, yep.
Right. And we heard the trucks coming, and we were excited. We were little kids. He was like, yeah, yeah. But, and he looked down at us. He said, where's the fire? And we said, not this building, the building behind that one. And how do I get there? Go around here. And he said to me, do you know where it is? I said, yeah. He said, come on around in here in the truck.
That's funny, yeah.
And I was like, what? And the other guy picked me up, put me in the middle.
Yeah, that's good.
And I was pointing and showing them the direction, how to get to the building.
Very good.
And it was like, thank you. And, they plopped me out, and then they got off the truck.
That's funny.
And, yeah, I just remembered that again now. But
you were a fireman for the day.
Yes, I was.
There you go.
I was fireman for the day. But, like I said, we appreciate our firemen, New York's bravest, and that's a job.
It's a job.
I don't want to say difficult, but,
Nope.
It has its dangers,
Yes,
but it has
yes.
its rewards, I guess.
100%.
Okay. Rescue any cats or dogs? Or
Yeah,
stuff?
a little bit of both. Yeah, sure.
Okay. So now also, here with the Bronx Basketball Hall of Fame, I know there's talking about mentoring like young children, not just boys, because I don't want to exclude it to boys because you coach a boys team.
Correct.
But do you have any key advice or any nuggets you want to give to some of the children or youth who are thinking about not just playing basketball, but any sport?
Absolutely. Just I guess I think the more the merrier right now. They say you shouldn't really focus on one sport or anything.
Right.
You don't know what you're going to be good at, right? Especially at a young age. But
Right.
I think through camps and different different stuff that we could do with the youth. We've been talking about it with the Bronx basketball, trying to hold some kind of clinics, both boys and girls, just to get them out and playing some basketball. Again, like we talked about earlier, it's just a great way to manage time and just
Right.
your discipline. And
Right.
there's so much more that goes into it than just, putting the ball through the hoop.
Right. One of my things was I didn't like the punishment going to Aquinas High School, and you had to keep your grades up. And one girl, she failed the class, and she got benched the next game. And we were like, wow, she can't play. And I think passing was like a 65. She got like a 63. And we was like, can't you pass her?
Right.
And we felt so bad she couldn't play, but she had to be there to the game.
Sure.
And seeing things like that, it just kept me like, no, I got to do right. I got to do this. And then even at practice, there's a discipline. Did y'all do suicides?
Yeah, we're not allowed to call them that anymore. We call them lines. Yeah, we run the lines. Yep, there's different things.
I'm showing my age. But yeah, those were tough, exercise drills. And then if we didn't follow the play, and like you say, y'all run set plays, and our coach would be there, Miss Gallo, how you doing if you're watching this from back in 1978? Okay, and if you didn't run the play right or whatever, they would say 1 lap. JT, they called me JT, and really they called me Lefty because I was left-handed. Lefty, you got a lap. Lefty, you got a lap. So if I didn't follow something along during practice, and we had like 2-hour, 3-hour practices, at the end of the practice, you had to run those laps while everybody was ready to go home, shower and everything. And you're already tired.
Sure.
But, the discipline in that was to listen. Don't talk while she's talking. I learned that in life. If somebody else is talking, let them finish talking. Don't talk while they're talking. It plays a factor in so many things that you do.
Definitely.
Disciplines back then. Well, also, I got the opportunity. Well, back then they didn't have the NBA, the WNBA.
Right.
Because people ask me now, Joyce, why aren't you playing? They didn't have it back then.
Sure.
And I know I would have made it now. Pat myself on the back. But they didn't have it then. But we used to go to watch the girls' games. At least they had the college games. Back then, in my era, it was Queens College. I remember Lucia Harris and even Cheryl Miller. I used to get to watch her play.
Sure.
Reggie Miller's sister, and she would be commentating. I got opportunity to watch her game, go to the Garden and stuff. But one thing with the Bronx Basketball Hall of Fame that they did this year, they honored a great NBA player that's in the Hall of Fame. And what was done for this player that grew up here in the Bronx and played on the courts in the Bronx, because there's so many players that played on the courts here in the Bronx, Tiny Nate Archibald.
Yes, yes.
What did y'all do for him?
So just to tie myself into a little bit of that history there, my mom's family grew up in the Patterson Projects.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. So they were there.
Because that's where he grew up at.
Correct. So yeah.
Okay.
Small world. It kind of all tied together there. So my uncle still has a lot of friends in the neighborhood, and they go back to the reunion all the time and everything.
Great.
So just having that, I used to go and visit my grandmother every Sunday down in the Patterson Projects. I remember the walk down to the building. But now, to bring it back to today, they redid the surface, the floor. They put a lot of time in. Guys, Derek, I know they definitely did put their time in. The brothers.
Yes.
And they helped. And they did a phenomenal job with the floor and the court. And what they did was they renamed the court the Tiny Archibald Court in his honor.
That's great. That's wonderful, and still be living to see that, and be able to appreciate that. But that just shows the appreciation that they had for this player, Tiny Nate Archibald. For those of you who don't know, and those who need a little remembrance, but Tiny Nate Archibald played NBA ball, retired NBA. He retired on the Boston Celtics, right?
Correct. One of the biggest things that I don't think has been ever done since was he led the league in points and assists in the same year, which is it's a phenomenal like stat
points
line.
And assists.
I don't know how
together
you do that.
in the same year.
Correct.
No other player has done that yet.
No, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. I think some of them now, I don't want to start naming names of the NBA players. They'll come after me like, hey, you said that, you called my name. But yeah, that was a remarkable feat that he did. And they retired his jersey, right?
Yes,
In the
yeah.
Boston Garden. So this player on the NBA grew up in the Bronx in the Patterson houses over there on 143rd off Morrison Avenue. So we just want to give recognition and to let it be known that a lot of great players, a lot of great people in basketball, in sports in general, have come up out of the Bronx. And we feel that, you know, we want to give them their just due.
100%, which is why this job becomes
That's
so
it.
hard, because
Yeah.
there are so many,
There are.
you know, both male and female that deserve to be in this
Right.
Bronx Basketball Hall of Fame. And I do promise we're going to get them all in.
Right, and not all of them made them to the NBA, you know, or see, that's why we need to give recognition to it, because you realize there's so many great people, but only so few teams. So
Correct. And, you know, a lot of it also, besides players, what we like to establish is the coaches and
There you go.
the
Refs.
organizers and the referees and
Right.
the people like, you know, volunteers.
Right.
You know, they need to be recognized as well.
Right, okay. So again, the awards ceremony is going to be again this year. It's always the first Thursday in November. This will be the third year coming up for the annual induction awards ceremony by the Bronx Basketball Hall of Fame. And they will be inducting people. You get to come out and see whose name's going to be called. And you can purchase tickets. You can buy a table or individual tickets. You'll see the information at the end of the show, how to purchase tickets and be part of this great event, to be first-time witnesses to this event. Also, you will see how to be in touch with Brian Downey. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you again for having me.
All right, it was great appreciation having you here, you know, and learning some more stuff about you and the group and about basketball,
Yes.
okay? So anything that you need to ask extensively of Brian, you can get in touch with him. Oh, one more last thing. We got maybe 30 seconds. You have a business. Give us the name of your business.
I do. It's real original. It's Downey's Bar and Grill.
Uh-huh.
It's in the Riverdale section of the Bronx, right on Marshall Avenue. Great comfort food. You get your burgers, your wings, you
Yes.
know, nice salad. It's good to go.
All right, so this man is busy, like I said, but he finds time in between time to be a great contributor in his community, on his job, and with his family. So I just want to say thank you again, Brian, for being on the show. Thank you for tuning in to Marble Hill 225, Neighborhood and You, where it's about you, the people, and the community. God bless. Have a blessed day.
Being a parent, especially for the first time, with that comes a lot of self-doubt. As a dad, I just try to lead by example. When you're trying to be the best person that you can be, your kids see that and then they emulate that.